It's time to start your engines and be part of the conversation. You can always ask the experts, Raffi and Dan Rosenberg, because it's now time for Clutch Radio. The show starts now.
So it is time for Clutch Radio with Raffi and Dan, but Raffi's having some technical difficulties, and I'm talking like Phil Donahue. Welcome to the show. We will Raffi will be here any second now. I can see things are happening in the background, the little things. He's almost here. Good morning, Adam Jones. We missed you the other night. But welcome to Clutch Radio. Each and every Saturday morning, we get together. We talk about buying, selling, trading, leasing, credit, whatever. Classic cars, repairing, funny stories about things that have happened between Raffi and myself. Looks like I might be able to have Raffi audio only. Let's see. Are you there, Raffi?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. I just can't see you.
I know. It's the strangest thing. I don't know what's happening. I've got everything hooked up, but it's weird. It's and everything says that it's in place. We'll just see. Maybe it's just slow.
All right. Well, it's good to hear you at least, even if we can't see you.
Yeah, and it reminds me of my flight, which was canceled and then rerouted late last night. So we arrived, and I finally did get to sleep at around 3 a.m. But maybe I'm just the computer is reflecting my own ramp up time.
So how did this happen that you got all diverted and whatnot?
Well, we had flown down to California to hear my daughter's debut in professional opera. She was in Rigoletto, and she did a fabulous job. Giant hall to hear Pacific Symphony, and she had a small role, but it was a starting role with top league performers. So she was very excited about it, and we were excited to go down and see the premiere. And then the next day we were scheduled to fly back, and Delta Airlines, which airlines are known to do now, they just randomly canceled. And
what city were you flying in and out of?
We were coming out of John Wayne, the OC.
Oh, you should have done Alaska.
Yes, but Delta had a great partner program, which we signed up for a little while ago. And so we were able to get in, and we stayed at a partnering hotel. So, you know, the whole points juggling.
Yeah, playing the game.
This is what I'm wondering, too, about with car companies. How come car companies don't offer points?
Well, GM had the GM card for many years.
Yes, but what happened?
I don't know.
You know, it seems to me that would be a really good promotional opportunity for any car company. Is to
He's got a bid on Bring a Trailer, it sounds like.
Yes, I did just get a bid. And I'm watching the Maserati Bora, which I have listed. And,
well, I'll pull that up, because that way at least we can see something of you.
Yeah, and I apologize. I don't know what's going on. Everything here says, I did get a little, here's a notice that says, access to your camera is being somehow blocked by a former Zoom or Skype session. Please restart your computer.
Oh, do you have Zoom or Skype up? Make sure those are closed, because I've had that happen.
I do not. Neither Zoom nor Skype are up. I usually kill those things, but there's the Maserati.
That thing is gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, it's a great car. And this has been modified to reflect Group 4 specifications. If you've seen a stock Maserati Bora, it's very different from what this is. And it's located in Sweden.
Wow. It's got that big of a bid in Sweden. Probably the people in Sweden are like, finally, something for us on Bring a Trailer.
Well, and somebody pointed out to me that I can now boast that I'm an international seller.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
That is such a crazy design.
It is. This is not Marcello Gandini. This is Giordetto Giugiaro.
Oh, of course, my favorite.
And this was one of his first designs as Ital Design when he started his own design studio after leaving Bertone. And, you know, just a beautiful design. And this has a mid-engine quad cam V8. So there's 4 banks of camshafts to run the heads, and ZF transmission. It's a fabulous car, but look at the size of the rear tires.
Yeah.
Just a monster of a vehicle. Cool looking thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is I just the first time I saw it when this listing posted, I was like, what the? I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, it's even a stock Maserati Bora looks very, very different because it has bumpers and the headlights are faired in but this is a really cool looking thing. Lots of modifications, massive rear fenders to house the rear tires, and engine modification. The engine has special race camshafts, but it puts out more horsepower, but it's not ungainly on the street. All the glass was removed from the back, and it has plexiglass inserted where the glass was, so it's much lighter weight. It's wearing Le Mans style magnesium wheels, which are very, very rare. Yeah,
I like how you said it's wearing.
It's wearing
like it's wearing Converse.
like it has a choice in the morning when it wakes up.
Yeah,
I'll wear my such and such.
Which wheels will I put on today?
Yes, exactly.
Do these wheels make me look fat?
Yeah.
Those do.
Yeah, how about that, huh?
Wow, is that a look?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty hunkered down.
Dan mentions, Dan Lindquist, GM card perks were only good for buying a new car, no little trinkets and other card perks. Yeah, I agree. It was basically like a rebate. And I worked at GM when those cars came out, where I was selling Chevys. And there were people that would just buy everything with that card, and they'd come in and they'd get, I think it maxed out at a certain amount of money too. Like it wasn't like you could get a free car. But you think they wouldn't care because they're making money on the credit card.
That's a really good question. Why would they care? And that's something that I've been thinking about, because there's got to be a good reason, because there are a lot of smart people at GM or any automobile company that they would have come up with some sort of reason why points or a point system wouldn't work. But just imagine if you went to buy a new car and your car purchase came with points, and the points were redeemable for other things. And even if you bought with a payment structure, with every payment you get points. So you get rewarded by making your payment. With every purchase at a dealer. So if you went in and you bought a General Motors hat, or if you had an oil change, or if you did whatever, and then they would also do it if you had bought a pre-owned GM car. You could, after your purchase, send a copy of your registration to say, I'm now a GM owner. This qualifies me for points. And then you get the points from that purchase. And then you build up points, and then you can redeem those points either for rebates on a certain car or credits for service. It seems to me like it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah. It looks like that might still exist. Wait a minute. Hold on. GM card. It looks like, hold on, let's go over to this one. Let's bring this up, see if we can. So Goldman Sachs has a GM rewards card. Earn 4 points on all purchases, 7 points on all GM purchases. So you can get you can get the points. This is kind of how the card was before. But there's probably, I'm going to see if there's terms and conditions here that'll actually show.
Dan makes a good point. It would have been great if they had applied to GM parts for GM owners. Absolutely. One of the things that I think car manufacturers have never been good at is once they make the sale, they almost forget about you.
Well, look at this. Card members can redeem unlimited points towards an eligible new GM purchase or lease, or toward paid GM service, GM genuine parts, AC Delco parts, eligible accessories. So they actually have done this.
So
But
this
you
but
can
this
only
is
redeem $1,000. Oh no, that's towards a purchase of a used pre-owned vehicle, certified.
so this is for card members. This is this through GM still?
Yeah, this is General Motors. So you use your card and you get points as you buy other things, and you can use it to pay for parts,
But
accessories, OnStar.
is it a GM program or is it a partner credit card
No, this is GM.
Okay.
My GM Rewards got the GM logo right on it. I mean, it's powered by Goldman Sachs. It's not powered by, but that's the same as I think the Apple Card is Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
And you also get World Elite benefits,
Oh, wow.
discount perks at DoorDash, Lyft, ShopRunner, Fandango, travel things,
Well, that's
roadside
good.
assistance. So they do. Look, Rafi, they exist just like that. They created while we were
They
talking.
grid while we're talking. Well, the big question is, why don't we as car guys know about this?
Exactly.
So it's just not. I don't think it gets enough traction. I don't think it gets enough branding or action.
Yeah. Dan says he must have the wrong level of card.
You should maybe Dan give the
Give us your credit card number. We'll look it up.
yeah.
No.
No, give them a call and say, hey, I'd like to upgrade to the My GM Rewards card that I see on GM.com and see if they'll upgrade you. That way you'll get that cool new logo that they have now.
Yeah.
Which
The lowercase G with the underlined M. Looks like the Goodwill logo almost.
Yes, it does. It looks very similar to one of the first logos I designed for myself as well.
Oh yeah, the RM.
Yeah, which is I probably had 5 or 6 logos over the years, and that's I stopped using that one quite a while ago.
Adam says poor promotion on their part, which is very true.
Yeah.
I mean, the only place I ever saw it was in the dealership.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a great place to advertise because you already have GM customers, but isn't the goal to get GM customers?
Yes.
I wonder if anybody else is doing them.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Car manufacturer credit card. So let's see. All the manufacturer. This is from doctorofcredit.com. American Express has a Mercedes-Benz card. BMW has one.
Oh,
Capital One has one. Oh, this is Capital One Buy Power cards, which is powered for all GM cars. So there's a Capital One version of that card also. First Bank Card Fiat Chrysler for Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, Jeep, Mopar, Ram, and SRT. And U.S. Bank has a Harley Davidson card.
Oh, wow.
So there are some cards out there. They're just not doing a good job of creating. Like the American Express Mercedes card, you get 5 times the points at Mercedes, 3 times at gas stations, double points at restaurants, and 1 point for all other purchases. You also get a $500 certificate each year. You charge $5,000. Good towards a future. Boy, I can't talk this morning. Purchase of a lease of a new Mercedes Benz, but it expires one date from the date of issue. So you get $500 every year, but you have to use it. So you can't stack them.
Okay.
So yeah, it's got a $475 annual fee, but if you plan on using the Mercedes that year, then you get that $500 certificate.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these cards charge an entry cost, but the rewards, the return through the point system is actually quite good. And eventually, if you think about it, our currency system has gotten so quickly antiquated after what happened with the pandemic, and young people don't carry change anymore. They don't carry cash in their pockets. So they're just doing Apple Pay and Points Pay and things like that. So
yeah, I after work a couple weeks ago, we went to this little restaurant in Tacoma, and they had skee ball. And everybody's like, "Have we got any cash? Have we got any quarters?" No. Does it take debit cards? Does it take Apple Pay? No, it needs 2 quarters to play skee ball.
Yeah,
Get 9 balls for 2 quarters.
Well, you know how musicians now they go out and they busk in the streets. If you're out there playing, people are passing by. People just don't have dollars.
Yeah, they put
come up to
their
you and they say,
Venmo.
Can we
code up.
Venmo you?
Yeah, I remember the first time that happened. There was a guy on Venice Beach, Rock and Roll Jesus,
Ah,
and he was very, very famous on roller skates, and he'd play guitar, and he'd sell CDs.
yeah.
And he came up one time, and he's like playing, and he like skated up to my buddy and I, and my buddy and me skated up to me. Yeah, my buddy and me, and I'm like, sorry, man, I got no cash. And he opens up his robe, and he had a credit card machine.
Jesus had a Venmo machine.
It wasn't even. This was pre-Venmo. This was, like in 2000. I couldn't believe he had like a wireless. That was a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
And like the other night, even when we did the screening for the sitcom, we put the Venmo code up, and we said, donate anything you want, and we'll give you a signed poster.
So here's what I think, and this is something that we've discussed for years in various automotive brainstorming sessions. Eventually, all cars will have credit card readers, and because it doesn't make any sense to have independent devices plugging into another device, and so with a credit card reader in your vehicle, you can do all kinds of things. You can pay for charging without having to get out of your car. If there's a service center that will charge your car, you can pull up to any McDonald's or Jack in the Box or whatever, and just place your order inside your car via the Wi-Fi system that they're broadcasting their menu, and then you can pay, and then all that's left for you to do is pull up and get the food. And since most of these food systems are operating with robotic manufacture for the food now, it just makes sense.
Well, the thing is with apps, like all the chains have them now. Starbucks, I just order my order on the app, pull up to the drive-thru, got a mobile order for Dan, pull up to the window, they hand it to me, I drive away. So
Right.
I mean, it's already on my phone.
Right.
And putting it on your car, if you have an automated way to have the charger plug in, which is, they do make that, it's just not very common.
Right.
I know Tesla has a big, looks like a huge penis, actually. It kind of just goes and locks into your car's hoo-ha. But
you had to go there.
I said hoo-ha at least. That will be one of the clips we use for the
Except they can't see me busting out in laughing.
I know. We'll edit that in later. Had you rebooted your computer?
No, I that's a good idea.
Maybe if you step away and reboot for a second, I bet your camera will work.
Oh, it would take me a while to reboot. I've got a whole bunch, but it's fine.
You need a new computer.
I do need a new computer. I've been thinking about getting one for this year. It's just been so darn good. One of the problems as a designer is you really have to think and live and act as responsibly as possible, so that you're not wasting materials. You're not building product that doesn't belong in the ecosystem just for the sake of building something new. And so I try to get as much mileage out of the devices I buy, because once I buy a new computer, this is landfill. It's not going to get reused. It's not going to get, and I can deliver it to a company that'll recycle it, but it goes into the waste stream. Right now, it's still productive. And I think this is just a glitch. And I think you're right. I think just rebooting it will probably solve the problem. But that's one of the challenges that I have with, I like to maintain my appliances. I like to make sure that they last a long time. And when they're done, they have to really be done, because I'm pretty good at fixing things. So and I do encourage other people too to fix the things before they just decide they're worthless. We had a little space heater here, and you know how they have those safety switches on the bottom, so that if they tip over, they automatically shut off. Well, the safety switch wasn't working properly. So rather than throw a small space heater away, I was able to, and it wasn't easy, open up the back of it. You have to have special screwdrivers and things like that. Open up the back of it, took a look at it. It was just the pin, the actuator pin for the spring had sort of clipped the edge of the molding where it went through and wasn't able to escape. So I realigned it, popped it back into place, and put it all back together, and now it works.
Now, I just want to tell you, this is an interesting thing, and this isn't a computer show, mind you, but this is about saving money, buying cars, selling cars. I got a link yesterday. Now, I'm Jewish, so what I'm about to say might sound ridiculous.
Now.
B&H Photo, they're run by Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn. So I saw this last night. This is an Apple MacBook Pro with an M1 Max chip that is $1,200 off right now. You never see $1,200 off a Mac. You might see 100, you might see 200. This is the loaded MacBook Pro that is $1,200. It's normally $4,100. It's $2,899, but you can't check out until 9 p.m. tonight.
I wonder why.
Because they're Orthodox Jews, and during the Sabbath, you can add to your cart, but you have to wait for 7 hours and 37 minutes until I can actually check out, because they won't operate. And I'm wondering, will this deal expire before they reopen?
That's interesting. You know, this is a brand new unit, right?
Brand new unit. This is a 32-core GPU.
Wow.
A 10-core chip. Then it's the M1 Max. Now there's the M2 has come out now. So obviously, but the laptop I have is an M1 Pro, and it is super fast. It does everything it needs for video editing, audio editing. I can't imagine needing anything more. And this one has a 2 terabyte hard drive.
Wow.
And this isn't like I'm getting a commission here. This is like, holy crap, but they're not open until 9 o'clock tonight.
You know what? If you buy this one, I'll buy your old one.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll work. We might have something there.
We'll work out a deal. What's your old one? Is it like a 2020 or
no,
something?
It's the same year. It's just it's the M1 Pro instead of the M1 Max. It only has a I think it's 1 terabyte.
Oh, I could live with that. I could live with that easily.
And I've got so many external drives too.
Yeah. Well, listen, you made a really good point about the future of automobiles, because, you know, it used to be that computers and automobiles were two different things entirely, just like it used to be that music and computers were two different fields entirely. The world is converging very, very rapidly on the everything of everything. And it used to be the internet of everything. Now it's just everything is sort of coming together in this singularity of technology where people are operating seamlessly with devices that used to be very, very difficult, very complex to figure out how to work it, how to, you hand a cell phone to somebody, a smartphone to a child, and within moments, they're able to figure out how to use it and how to
It's natural now.
Yeah. And it's because it's behaviors that are so immediately recognized. Human beings have a high level of mirror neurons. So we're able to mirror quickly what we see in behaviors of other humans so that we can have greater sense of community and involvement and all of that. And so that's one of the reasons why learning how to drive is so easy, and why you hear these miraculous stories of 9-year-old kids that grandma slumped over the wheel while driving, and somehow a 9-year-old kid was able to pull the car over to the side of the road and then navigate without getting in an accident.
Or when it breaks, the kid picks it up and holds it up while this. Oh wait, that was Superman. Never mind.
So yeah, so computers and cars are intersecting, just like refrigerators and cars or refrigerators and computers are intersecting.
Now Dan brings up a point here. 2021, a previous 2-year-old unsold model. Yes and no. It's a late 21 because that model came out in November of 21. So it's only a year and a half old. And basically, Apple usually comes out every 2 years sometimes. So that's the previous model, which was for sale until about a month ago. That was the current model. And probably B&H Photo bought a bunch of, because Apple won't, you can't buy that on apple.com anymore. But even with the way Apple controls prices, even if you bought the one that's, you know, the previous model year, if they sell them off to resellers, they still dictate the most you can, the least you can sell them for, because they want to maintain the value. They're very controlling, which some of the dealerships also do, or some of the brands. And I wanted to talk about this today too. By the way, Adam says we can just CGI you in post, which we could. We'll call Richard and have him just put you there.
There you go.
Elon Musk does not understand pricing strategy.
Yes.
He keeps lowering the price of new Teslas. But what he doesn't realize he's killing is the ability to lease a Tesla and the ability to buy a used one. Because I'm seeing some at the auction that, let's say they didn't sell last week and they were, you know, a Model X with 3,000 miles for and it's a 22 model for 99 grand. Well, that's a good deal because it was 125,000 new.
I agree.
So a year old, save 25 grand. That's not bad. But now a brand new one's 99,000. You can get a 23 for 99,000. So he just killed the value of that used car, which he probably doesn't care about. But if you're trying to lease, if the prices keep adjusting, then it's the leasing company's like, well, how do we figure out what it's going to be worth, you know, 3 years from now for the lease? Because they don't do their own leases; they use a third party. So that's why manufacturers do rebates and not discounts. They don't change the price of their car. They say, okay, sticker price is 125, but we're going to give a $25,000 rebate for the next month if you buy this car.
That way, it doesn't sound discounted.
Exactly, and then the value of the car, the future value of the car, won't go down. And you know, I've been watching this one. It got like an $82,000 bid. It was a high bid. It was at 99,000 like a month ago.
Huh.
And they can't sell it because now this dealership's going to lose $18,000 because they're probably in it more.
In the meantime, a Tesla Roadster, which years ago,
find one,
they only made 2,500 of them. Tesla Roadsters are now approaching the price they were when new, which is amazing if you think that they were about 100,000, sometimes a little bit more than 100,000 with options. And then about, I guess they finished up around 2012 making them, maybe even later.
I think 12 was the last year when they started the S. They stopped making the Roadster.
So when they stopped making the Roadster, within about 5 years of that, the prices, they dropped to where you could buy one for $35,000, $40,000. And it's because they were experiencing issues with the batteries. So Tesla offered battery replacements. They weren't cheap, but you could get an upgraded battery for it. And now they're not cheap.
There's only 2 available in the entire country on Auto Trader right now: 149.9 and 159.9.
Yeah, and these 2 are high mile cars.
16,000? That's not high mile, is it?
Well, high mile, like they're. If you look on Bring a Trailer, you'll see that there are a few that have been like 3,200.
Yes,
3,500. And I think where it shows, there's actually a company now that offers batteries and specific services for Tesla Roadsters. They're in Arizona, and many people are buying them, shipping them to Arizona, and having the cars, the software updated, all of that stuff improved and things. Now this one's on. Is this on currently?
This is currently on Bring a Trailer. It's at 80 grand. It only has 8,000 miles.
Yeah. So this will be really interesting to see what it sells for.
Well, let's look at some results too.
Yeah, that's always good. See, these aren't cheap.
I mean, look at this one. This is one of the first 100 made. $212,000.
Yep.
156, 117. So here's a 17,000 mile, but it's an 08, which I believe is the first year.
That is the first year. And there's 2.0 and 2.5 Teslas. There's a 2.0 Roadster. So it's bid to 94,000. But what's interesting too is, see, this is older. This is 2020. So you see these numbers. Here's a 900-mile one for 140, bid to 140.
Now here's a 2.5 that sold for 95,000 last August. Let's see how many miles this one had. 52,000.
Yeah. And while we know that mileage doesn't really matter that much on an electric car, if it's had a battery fresh, and they're not cheap to get a battery. The batteries are 20, 30 grand.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a car that is going to be desirable in the future, definitely a Tesla Roadster is going to be desirable, because look, these are the pioneers of the industry. This car proved that an electric performance car could be put out in the market, and people would not only buy them, they wouldn't be stranded on the side of the road. And this is the car that made volume electric vehicles a possibility for the future. No one was in the game when this came out. No one.
Yeah.
Not at this level. And they've done nothing but increase. And now I think you'd struggle to find a Tesla Roadster now worth owning for under 100 grand.
Yeah, and these were Lotus bodies, correct?
No, these were you're right that they were Lotus product. They used the Lotus as the base, but the body panels, even the wheelbase is 2 inches longer on this car. The body panels are completely different. Tesla used their own design for the body.
But Lotus is who built the car for Tesla, correct?
Lotus it's all Lotus underneath.
Yes. Gotcha. Lotus guts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are gorgeous.
They partnered with Lotus. Yeah, they are. They're gorgeous cars, and by today's standards, they're still fast cars. 0 to 60, 3.5, etc.
But there was only 288 horsepower, that one said.
Right.
I guess it's so small and light, comparatively speaking. Now the new Roadster, which is still a reserve only, these are pretty gorgeous.
Yeah, that's a good looking car.
I think to reserve it, it's due within 10 days, $45,000. So it's 5,000 due today and 45,000 within 10 days.
How many will they make? It doesn't even look like a Roadster in that photo.
No.
How many will they make, Dan?
I don't know. They were talking. It's like the DeLorean, where they're gonna make 88 originally. I still think that DeLorean's never going to happen, and they're just scamming people for money.
I think you're right. I think that the problem with DeLorean is they haven't populated the industry with vehicles. See, people give Carroll Shelby a lot of grief because they often say he was a snake oil salesman, a huckster, a marketeer, and all that. Carroll Shelby wasn't a car designer, not even remotely, but he was really good at promoting. And when he made the first 289 Cobra, they didn't have any money. But what he did was he did the first one, painted it one color, then took it out to the Road and Track magazine, said, take it for a test drive. Then he brought it back, and then he had the paint shop painted a different color. And then he took it out to another car magazine and said, here's another one. So these cars were appearing in white, in blue, in red, and people had the impression that Carroll Shelby had made many cars. And it's funny, whenever you're in a group and you tell somebody, hey, did you donate $10 to that cause? And nobody says yes, you don't have as much of a chance to earn the money. But if somebody says, hey, I just donated $10 to the cause, you in? Then you're more likely to be in. And then you tell other people, hey, I just did this. Are you going to do that? And back then, in the 60s, when Carroll Shelby was promoting cars, automobile magazines were effectively the internet of the day.
Right. Now look at this ridiculousness. This is DeLorean's new deal. So first you join the Alphas Club. Your journey to ownership begins with an $88 Alpha Club lifetime membership. Additionally, your Alpha Club membership includes a variety of other their benefits. So once you pay your $88, you can purchase on the DeLorean Exchange.
Ooh.
They have exclusive access to secure their place in line by purchasing a randomized production slot for $2,500. And then once you've successfully purchased your slot, you can transfer, trade, or sell your production slot to other club members. This is a Ponzi scheme.
It just sounds very, very much like Amway or
and they can then secure their production slot and have the ability to purchase one from another Alpha Club member on the DeLorean Exchange. And the biggest problem I have is
side effects include losing money, and losing money.
All right, let's see what happens when you become a member. For a limited time, you receive a membership for $88. Now, what really bothers me the most about this is that they bought the DeLorean.com name or licensed it from the guys in Houston that were actually doing they're the parts place to get cars. And now when you go to DeLorean.com, I think that it sends you back to classic DeLorean. Like if you're looking for
it's unapologetically human. What does that mean?
Yeah, there it is. Classic. You have to go to classic DMC.
Wait, just let me talk to the marketing people for a minute. First of all, humans by nature are apologetic. That's one of the.
I'm sorry, what?
Of human beings is that they have a conscience, so they can recognize that an apology is an admission that they may have done something wrong. So to say the DeLorean is unapologetically human is ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
A new energy mobility brand.
So ridiculous.
Clear vision of our future. I mean, at least they're sort of showing us. I mean, that's not really silver, but like the main picture is always a red one. I'm like, that's not DeLorean. DeLorean was stainless steel.
It's not a poorly designed car. It's certainly good looking, but it's not new. It's not fresh. It's not something that is setting a new standard in some way. And the DeLorean was that.
Yeah.
It was very unique. People forget that in 1981, there was nothing. We were the American automobile industry was in an abyss. It was just awful what was coming out. We didn't start seeing really good looking cars until 1983, 84, 85, and performance was completely out of the question. So, what's challenging about launching a new car today is that it's very, very difficult to compete with technology that is unique because look, it's companies like Tesla have been building cars like this for quite some time. And General Motors, Kia, you can fill the eyeballs with people's ideas or with ideas and sketches and concepts like this, and everyone will appreciate what they're seeing, but it still doesn't make an automobile appear.
Yeah, and they're doing this thing where they're trying to make it look like they're part of the history of the real DeLorean. So they're showing like, okay, here's the DMC 24, which is the four-door version that they talked about making years ago.
Right.
And I've seen the pictures. These are not them.
Yeah.
This is their own version of what that looked like.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so now they're going to the wind tunnel testing. And now here's the DMC 24. Now these, I think, were the concept pictures that were around back then.
Yeah, those look like Giugiaro Studio.
Yeah. And then you come up to this. Here's the 93. So this is the Alpha 2 that they supposedly were working on. And that, I think, that looks like a Corvette and actually looks nicer than the current one that they're. Now here's the Alpha 2 sketches. And then you go to the Alpha 3.
See, and all of this stuff you can get for about $50,000 to $75,000 by going to an accredited automobile design school and sponsoring a program. So you sponsor a car design program, and these student renderings and sketches, fill the room. These are not unattractive concepts. These are cars that if you saw one on the street, you say, oh, well, there's an interesting looking car. But is there anything unique and different about it that does what the DeLorean did in the automotive world when it came out? No.
Because 420, I believe, that's a very popular day for pot smokers.
Yes.
And for people that like Hitler, because that's his birthday. But they also, that was the day that the first 300 and however many cars headed from Belfast over to the United States. And there was a lot of that online.
Yeah. Well, and look, they went to some school or some collection of very capable, talented design students, and they've got the concept sketches for pickup trucks, and they said, "Here, you do a pickup truck, you do this, we're looking for new concepts. So you can pick whatever you like." So they get a whole variety of different things.
Yeah. Now, Dan brings up something. I wasn't looking at comments because I was looking at all these pictures. Should states offer tax rebates at a cost to the public as part of specific car sales? So I think he's referring to like the, no sales tax on electric cars that they did for a while here in Washington, or California offers, I think, $2,500 if you buy an EV. The federal government offers $7,500. I mean, it's a plus and minus because Tesla would not have happened without that $7,500. Oh, I see Raffi.
Is that better?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay. I don't know what happened.
He's back.
There we go.
Wow, that was weird.
I don't know what happened. Let's see.
I think states should offer incentives for low emission vehicles overall. Like not just, Subarus are practically zero emissions. They said if you put your brand new Subaru in the garage and ran the engine and tried to kill yourself, you would not die.
Oh, because the
emissions are practically, it's PZEV. It's practically zero. It's almost, there are no emissions. Oh yeah. One of those did look like a Mitsubishi concept. Very true. Adam says he saw an ad for the Polestar 4. I don't know if it was an ad or if it was just them announcing, because they announced the 4. So the 3 is coming out in mid next year, and the 4 is coming out very soon thereafter. They're calling it a sport utility coupe.
Oh,
yeah. It's got no rear window.
Really?
It's just a camera.
Well, there you go.
And the 5 is the one that I think I was hoping would happen before my lease, or when my lease ran out, but it looks like it's going to be way behind. But the 5 will be kind of like a Model S. It'll be their flagship luxury car. So yeah, it was an ad, but it wasn't necessarily an ad like saying, hey, buy one now, because I don't think you can even put a deposit down yet on the Polestar 4.
Well, and as we're learning, more and more automobile manufacturers are moving their entire fleet to electric vehicles. The challenge associated with that many batteries out there, I don't know. I don't know to what extent we're prepared, whether the ecosystem for manufacturing batteries can support that many vehicles. General Motors makes hundreds of thousands of cars per year. And that's just one company. Hundreds of thousands of anything is hard to do. Mm-hmm. But millions of tons of material to make hundreds of thousands of anything is daunting. And if you look at world production, it's in the millions for vehicles.
Now, the thing with GM is they're taking the Buick brand and they're making the Buick brand all electric.
Yeah.
And they're bringing back the Electra, which I said they should have done years ago.
Yes.
So they're going to be an electric only brand.
Well, and
Dodge cars are going to be electric only next year.
And Buick for General Motors. People don't realize how Buick is like a cash cow for General Motors, because they sell more Buicks in Hong Kong than I think they sell in the United States now. China alone buys thousands of Buicks because you can get them fully loaded with leather and all the power accessories and General Motors air conditioning, and they're good looking cars and they last. And so they sell a bunch of them, which is amazing. But really, if you look at the dollar value that you get from like a brand new Buick SUV, it's astonishing how good it is.
Yeah. And Cox Automotive, who I work for,
yes,
they purchased a couple of different EV companies, battery companies, and they are going to lead the charge in the recycling and reusing and remanufacturing of EV batteries.
Now, this is a critical business opportunity for people interested in doing such things, because back in the late 70s, early 80s, smart business people realized that computer waste was not being seen as a mineral opportunity. But a couple of people figured this out and started a computer recycling business. And they called it recycling. But what they did was they went to companies that had old computers. They took everything as junk. They didn't buy it. They just took it as junk, loaded it up on trucks, took it to the seaport and shipped it to China, where it was recycled, quote unquote. And people were making millions of dollars doing this in major cities where computer electronics was, the churn was extensive. Even in old television, they would take old televisions, old TV monitors, old equipment, because the precious metals inside there, they could melt it down, they could pull out the stuff that they needed, and there was no environmental protection for the stuff that was ending up in the waste streams. So to do that today, of course, is going to be a little more costly. The infrastructure for it is going to be more costly, but I think the revenue opportunity is definitely there, because look, we're going to have an awful lot of batteries, dead batteries, to have to contend with. And this isn't like the batteries out of the back of your your old record player, or your old stereo, or your old AM radio, transistor radio, where you just think, no big deal, you throw it in the trash. You can't do that with a lithium-ion battery.
So Dan says extracting metals from anything with a circuit board. Yes, because there's stuff on there. Now, Adam asked a question: is there any alternative to using lithium in the EV, or at least something being researched? Yes, iron.
Well, and car companies are. I'm on camera now, Dan, so you can remove that little blurb.
The no camera thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Car companies have been researching new battery technology for years, and so have a lot of other companies, because that's the big carrot. And there's lots of ways to propel a car, but even if you figure out a different propulsion system for a car, the car is still highly dependent on battery, because there's so much computer electronics inside a car. And that's one of the reasons why it was so much easier to transition from petrochemical power into battery power, because the automobile is turning into a movable computer anyway. So it just made sense that if we're going to have computers inside these cars, we're going to have lithium-ion batteries anyway to run these things. Why don't we just make it a whole lithium? This will be a computer on wheels.
Yeah, and I changed your to on camera instead of no camera.
I
just reversed the letters.
Oh, very good.
There's a paper here from Yale. There's a couple jokes about Yale that are funny, but what college did you go to? Yale. What college did you go to?
Yes, that's like Jim Ignatowski in Taxi.
Yeah. Slow down,
Slow
Jim.
down.
Lithium-ion batteries have gone in the past decade. They've cut the price is reduced by about 90%. But of course, they need nickel and cobalt, so there's a limit of how far this cost can go. Iron-based batteries can be purchased for as little as $200 per kilowatt hour versus $350 per kilowatt hour for current lithium.
There are problems, though, with iron mining that are quite significant.
But can't they take the iron from scrap metal?
They can, but scrap metal, there's not as much of it as people think available, because metal actually lasts a really long time. And it serves its purpose for a long time.
Yeah, but cars, think of how much, I mean, we were sending all the cars to China forever.
Not a lot of iron in cars anymore. There's mixed alloys, there's light metals, there's even a steel-bodied car, there's not a lot of iron content. Old engine blocks used to have a ton of iron in them. But
what about human blood? Can we take it out of human blood?
You could.
I was joking, but maybe it's true.
Yeah, my
welcome to Transylvania Batteries.
My automotive design thesis, which is a whole other conversation, was genetically engineered transportation. So you grow your vehicle and you engineer it as to what you specify you want. Do you want a vehicle that'll have power and torque, etc.? Do you want to have other things that go? So, and this vehicle would be genetically engineered, and it would be designed so that things like the tires overnight, after you've driven a long way, they regrow. And it has a circulatory system, and it has a heart, and you feed it basically food waste, and it survives on your
Mr. Fusion.
Yeah, it's like Mr. Fusion, but it survives, and it drives on your food waste.
Wow. Speaking of food waste, we have only 7 minutes to go, and we still have to do. Ray gave us a car, and you've got to do an old school if you have one ready.
Oh, wow. How did that happen?
I know. So let's hit the old school theme.
All right, we're going old school today, and this time, while I was out in California, Southern California, by the way, it's astonishing how many great old cars are still on the road. You see them everywhere, and they're common. People are using them just as though they were the regular everyday car. But what I did see that shocked me, and I haven't seen one of these in such a long time, and my brother and I were big fans of these things, what I saw was probably the most innovative and most amazing and extremely expensive to develop GMC motorhome. That's right. I said the word motorhome. I know this is an automobile show, and I know we talk about cars, but there was a time in the past when motorhomes were everywhere. Now, most motorhomes were low quality, cheap, inexpensive, fall apart. General Motors set about in the late 60s. They said, we're going to design and develop a brand new, wholly developed motorhome, and it's going to be beautiful. So when this came out in 1973, boom, it hit the market right when the fuel crisis happened. So General Motors had planned perfectly for this opportunity and built a magnificent motorhome. Just look at this. It's very futuristic in its time. An Oldsmobile engine in it. It was platform developed, but it was spacious and beautiful, modern at that time interiors, all the technology you could possibly imagine built into this beautiful, magnificent motorhome. And they were premium priced. People paid a lot of money for them. If you're searching through, Dan, you'll see some outrageous interiors referencing the 70s with shag carpet, bright green, avocado appliances, just iconic stuff. But they built these from 1973 to 1978, and they finally gave up because even though they sold rather well and they were premium vehicles, the market for motorhomes was dying, and there was no way they could sell them. They realized that the other companies were upping their game and making them for a lot less money, and General Motors shifted their attention back to their production vehicles. And so for 5 years, General Motors made the GMC motorhome, and it really was an amazing project. Now, if you go out looking for a motorhome and scroll through this, you'll see some interesting stuff. Here they are, the typical advertising scenes and all of that. But I think there's a picture here that'll show the interior.
Yeah, that's what I clicked on, and that's weird that it didn't.
Yeah, that it might be down in one of the picture slots.
There we go.
There it is. Look at that.
Wow.
Isn't this like a scene from the Brady Bunch? It's just incredible. Look at the floral pattern on the seats. Look at the green. And it boggles the mind at what point in your design career do you look at this and think this is the epitome of style, this is the future? But there it is. And what's wonderful about it is many people have bought these and restored them to their original configuration so that you can experience what it's like to be in this era. And so I bring it up because you can buy these and you can decide to restore them, bring them back to former glory. Many people will convert them and modernize them because modern motorhomes are not cheap. If you want a modern motorhome, you're going to be spending $300,000 to $500,000 at a minimum for a really good, high quality motor coach. They don't call it a motorhome; they call it a motor coach.
This one, they went all out. Somebody spent over $500,000 making a modern version.
Yeah, and boy, if you go out and you look for one, you can find a really nice one for under $100,000. But be prepared to spend a little bit more money on them because they will take. They require some attention to keep them going. There's someone I don't have much history on it or information. Someone has converted one to electric, but the range is what I'm wondering about, because most motorhomes you would configure it to be hybrid so that you have an opportunity to not get lost somewhere where you can't charge. But this one sold for $33,000, and if you look at the pictures of it, it's quite nice. You don't have to spend a lot of money on this. This looks like it's in pretty good shape. Still a running, driving, usable vehicle, and they're not mechanically, they're not complicated. It's the cosmetics and there you go. Look at that. I'm telling you.
Oh my God. This was the yellow model.
Yeah. But people love this. People love this kind of vintage vibe. And there's a lot of value in it if you want to go out and have some fun. And there's your Oldsmobile engine. Yeah. So there you go. Old school.
Wow.
Yeah. And this was, GM poured millions of dollars into the development of this. Millions.
Adam says if you go down to Seattle or Portland, you might find one for free.
All right, we're going to do a car of the week before we.
Stacy said, "Oh, pretty," and that one's even better. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure with the timing. Now we'll do a real quick for Ray, who hasn't even commented today, which makes me think he's not even watching.
He might not be.
But we'll do a quick car of the week. All right, Ray has brought to us a car that I used to think back in the day was very underrated, and that is one of these.
Oh, okay.
It is a Grand Am. Let me pull up his the engine shot that he sent over.
Supercharged?
It is a Ram Air.
Oh,
there we go.
yeah,
3.4 liter
that's
Ram Air.
that's a rare car.
Now, this particular one, let me get the details that he sent me. He didn't say what year. Oh, it's a 2004 Grand Am GT, 140,000 miles. Unfortunately, it's got a bit of a hard shift. So it might need a little transmission work. And the driver's window is not working. So it might need a little switch or a regulator. But he's willing to do this one for only 2 G's out the door.
Yeah, these are the last gasp of Pontiac division General Motors. I think Pontiac ended in 08 or 09. I may be mistaken on that.
09 is when they have the 2010 model. You can get some 10s. The last one you can get.
And so you're buying one of General Motors' oldest brands, and they gave up on Pontiac because it just no longer fit in the model line. This is a cloth interior car, automatic. So it's a base model performance Pontiac, but this is a car you'll never see again. General Motors will never make a car like this again. Now, some people will say, thank God, but it's quite unique and different. So there's some value in that perspective.
And I already own 2 Pontiacs, so I'm not interested in this one.
There you go. And for $2,000, what are you going to get for $2,000?
True. I mean, I paid $600 for the Catalina that we use for the sitcom.
Yeah.
And as I've said before, the hubcaps, the classic 1970 hubcaps I found, and the new tires were more than the whole car.
Yeah.
That's really all I've done to it so far.
Well, I have an auction to tend to.
Okay, and it's after 11, so we're going to go. If you have any questions during the week, of course, you can put them on our Facebook page.
Yep.
Or you can just tune in next week. We're here every Saturday. And next week, maybe we'll do the driving show next week with the Stealth, because we got to get that ready for auction.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a good day. Nice to see you, Raffi, and not have half the show with no camera. And we'll have some sitcom updates too next week, maybe.
Fabulous.
We had a screening. We haven't even had a chance to talk about that.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's all. Bye, everybody.
See ya.